Hi, I'm Lori, and welcome to my podcast. This is a small series where I share the way in which my life has unfolded. There are so many layers to everything in life. Things go right at any given time, things go wrong at any given time. There's always learning and growth, transformation, evolution, and life-changing breakthroughs. It's through this that we can connect to each other's story and join one another, support one another, connect to each other's humanness. This will offer you an opening into the story of how I manage things and work out the struggle and the pain, reconnect to joy and happiness, and how I have begun to unlearn many things in my life and what I do to find peace. I figured it's only taken me 49 episodes to feel a deep desire to start to share my story and my process, but that's a whole story in and of itself. Right now, in this episode, I'm going to share with you what I've been learning in vulnerability and honesty, and with the hope and desire that you would know that you are not alone in your experience and whatever's happening in your life. I wrote some things in my journal today that I thought would be really helpful to some people, especially if you're struggling with anxiety. I obviously, as an adult, I have a different way of relating with anxiety. But upon reflection, I realized that as a child, I was so anxiety ridden, and there were so many things that contributed to a lot of uncertainty in my life. Growing up in a really chaotic environment, I never knew what to expect. I never knew what was going to happen next. Even though my mom did her best to structure our environment in a way that we did feel safe, there was still a lot of chaos and emotional instability that created this deep anxiety for me that I carried from my childhood through my teenage years into my partnership, into my life as a mother, into my business. I just carried it. And I'm beginning to realize I can let that shit go. So I wrote today, thank you, anxiety, for helping me all these years. I'm not a child anymore. I no longer need you to work so hard to protect me from uncertainty. So you can go now. So like I said, as an adult, I look back. We all do. Whether you're even a teenager, you still look back to your childhood, which informs you a little bit on how you are holding yourself or showing up in the world. And so as an adult, I look back and I go, okay, I see now that I have been in a state of perceived emotional or physical danger my whole life. I actually confirmed this fact with my mom and my brother today. And I said, can I say this? And they both said, yes, we all were. Because I just had this hypervigilance. Like I was ready for the other shoe to drop all the time. Something unpredictable would always happen. And I developed anxiety. Now I know this. Back then I didn't, but now I know that I developed anxiety back then to protect me and keep me safe. Anxiety had a cortisol level to it that had me ready for the unexpected, ready for the unplanned, ready for this person to show up. We thought they would be this way, but now they're not. They're coming home from work and it's crazy. And I'm learning that the body has endless wisdom about this. So if you have never known, what do I do with my anxiety, or how do I handle it now as an adult? And what am I going to say to my kids? And how do I help my kids? Or how do I just help myself? Forget about the kids. Help yourself first. Give yourself the life preserver. Then give your kids the solution. And then maybe they can help themselves. But how am I going to do this? And I realized that my body was keeping me safe and protecting me. And it still is. I don't need it to. I right now have emotional safety, physical safety, and it's showing up in my body, in particular in my stomach, in my bowels, in my pelvis. Having birthed children, there's some, trauma in there, but it's showing up, and I'm noticing it, and I am discovering what to do with it. So, but recently, the understanding of it started because I needed it. And then I thought, well, if it started because I needed it, then, and I really didn't make a conscious effort to say, oh, anxiety, come here, I need you to protect me. If I didn't do that consciously, then can I also say to anxiety, hey, thanks for doing the work. I don't need you anymore. I actually believe that you can. And I know this because I did a show that is coming up with Eileen Smith on somatic experiencing technique. And it's where she talks about the body being the densest part of the soul. And the body is a storehouse of memory, and it goes into the cell, and your emotions stay there with your memories. And when we can't find the solution for emotional pain or physical pain, oftentimes it's in our body and it needs to be released. So with that in mind, and also this other show I did with Lana from Toxic Ties, we talked about toxic and unhealthy relationships, in particular with grandparents. And I thought, oh my gosh, these things are coming up. I'm experiencing some anxiety about this. So I got to release this somehow. And I discovered that you can connect to your body. You can connect to your body wisdom. Your body knows more than you do. Your body is protecting you. So I started dialoguing the other day with my body, and I know, and it's a weird concept for some people, but yes, you can dialogue with your body. We're not separate. We're not separate from our body. Our mind, our spirit, and our body are all connected. And we can ask our body questions. We can hold our body and be what our body needed during those times. So in this situation, I've been looking at my body saying, okay, well, what did you do in order to keep me safe back then? Thank you for showing up. Thank you for serving me in that way, protecting me, guarding me, keeping me hypervigilant so that if something were to happen, I was ready for action. I am no longer in an emotional or physical danger. I wasn't really back then either. Maybe emotional danger, but definitely, and sometimes physical. Okay, so there's denial. No, I'm going to rationalize myself out of this. No, I'm not. You just watch that. That's how we all interact. So what you just saw there, I won't edit out, because you can see that your rational thought wants to kind of justify, no, I didn't have that. Well, you did. I did. And it's okay. We're making our life new again by healing those old wounds. So yes, I did grow up in a environment, yes, I always felt emotionally under threat. And yes, I did physically feel under threat. And now I can say it and I can feel it and I can honor it. That's the point. I'm just taking a break here for a sec because that's really cool. The point of this is, just as a little side note, that learning piece right there for me, in all honesty, is I think what I want to do every day as interacting with you as a viewer. That's real life. It isn't perfect. And I think sometimes I fall into that a little bit by saying, oh, if I'm going to do an Instagram video, it has to be perfect so that it'll draw more views. I got to let go of that and not worry about it. So to hedge something by saying, oh, it wasn't really, I didn't really have that, is just this massive contradiction that I now see as no need. So we get the opportunity to delete those things and to pretend that that just didn't happen by going take 2 or take 3. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that here because I want you to see that. I want you to see that I really do self-doubt often. And it's okay. And it's just reframing how I show up in the world. And to the point here, I'm not under any threat or any danger of saying how I feel to all of you. What are you going to do? Worst thing is you could comment, big deal, or unfollow me. Like, okay, but this is how this works for me. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's go back to body wisdom. I'm learning that the body has endless wisdom and that it is a part of this collaboration, mind, body, soul, all work together to create life, experience, interactions with others, personal relationships. It's not just the body or the mind as the separate. It's all together. And if that's the case, then I really think then we could reframe beliefs, narratives, old stories, habits and patterns and ways of interacting with ourselves and with others. So on that note, if you have agency over your body, mind, and emotions, then you can start by asking some questions, which I did, and I wrote them down. I said, anxiety, how long have you been here? How long have you been showing up in my body? What purpose are you serving here now? If I know that you were in my body and showing up as a child, what is the purpose now? Because now I feel emotionally safe. I feel physically safe. I'm spiritually safe. What are you doing here now? And how are you helping me? Are you helping me? Can we renegotiate this relationship? Because I don't really need you. Do I still need anxiety to be a part of my story and moving forward? And then I began to think, okay, well, those are great questions, but now what would I want to say to anxiety? And I had some framing around that where I said, I can be calm. I know how to be calm. I'm learning to embody the present moment. And in this moment, right here, right now, there is no need to be feeling under threat. There's no need to be holding so much tension in my abdomen and in my pelvis. We are safe. We are okay to be vulnerable. We are okay to be grounded and rooted to the earth. And it's okay to know who you are. It's okay to speak your truth, Lori. It's okay. You're not suppressed, no longer suppressed. Suppression was way back. But I haven't been suppressed for, 27 years since I left my house, since I got married. It's those kinds of things that we can begin to interact with ourselves. And that you don't need to go to a therapist for that. You don't need to do anything. You can just be in the quietness of your own space and hold yourself with the intention to heal. So some of you might have, I think you can all relate, whether you are in a bad relationship, have bad friendships, have bad family connections, maybe your environment is chaotic, maybe you do not believe that you deserve the space of this world. Maybe you are really worried about going to school every day because you do not learn the same way that other people learn, or maybe you do not have a solid friend group, or you're bullied by different people. Maybe you feel guilt and shame. Maybe you're like me, who you just don't know what to expect. You do not know where your safety is coming from that day. You just crave safety so much that you try to find it and you never have been able to. For me, I just said, hashtag not needing to be anxious. I can be calm. So thank you, anxiety. Thank you for helping me all these years. I am not a child anymore. I am no longer needing you to work so hard to protect me from uncertainty. So you can go now. You've been seen, you've been heard, and I appreciate you and hold you in gratitude. You kept me safe when I had nothing else. When I could not say it out loud, you, anxiety, kept me safe. But thank you for doing that, and I honor you. But now, with love and gratitude, I let you go. This is the kind of stuff I love to talk about and to dialogue about with other people. And this is what I really want to commit to on the podcast, especially. So if you're struggling with relationships, if you do go to my website, www.loriclark.ca, you will find there's a lot of conversations. There's 48 right now, 49 actually. There's some on emotions, there's some on unhealthy relationships, and there's Lana, the most recent one, on toxic grandparents. And she did a previous podcast with me, I believe it's episode 40, where she talks about just toxic relationships in general and how to begin to find yourself and move through this kinds of thing. Now, upcoming is Eileen Smith, and we're going to talk about the somatic experiencing technique, which is interacting with the body like I just did there. So that's what you can find on my website. And if you go to my Instagram, it's at The Lori Clark Show. Just know that you have agency. You have agency over your body, your emotions, and your mind. Know that, and you can learn from that, and you are never, ever, ever too old to learn this. So, thank you for your time, and I hope this connects to you in some way or another. And if it does, don't be shy. DM me, go to my website and contact me and get a hold of me.